What are the bills that will be presented to the Parliament on Wednesday?
One is the Economic Transformation Bill and the other is the Public Financial Management Bill. These two documents serve as a legal assurance to achieve the agreed upon objectives within the extended fund facility with the International Monetary Fund.
What is the objective of the Economic Transformation Bill?
It is evident that the proposed bill aims to repeal the Board of Investment Act, thereby establishing a robust legal framework to facilitate foreign direct investment in the country. Additionally, the draft legislation seeks to enact a national policy with the objective of promoting economic transformation.
What is included in the National Policy on Economic Transformation?
Full economic recovery by the year 2027. Public debt to gross domestic production ratio shall be below 95% by the year 2032. Central government annual debt service in foreign currency to gross domestic production ratio shall be below 4.5% by 2027. Gross domestic production growth to reach 5% annually by the year 2027 and above 5% annually thereafter. Unemployment to reach below 5% of the labor force from the year 2025. Exports of goods and services as a percentage of gross domestic production to reach not less than 25% of gross domestic production by the year 2025 and not less than 40% of gross domestic production by the year 2030. At least 40% of net foreign direct investment to be in exports of goods or exports of services by the year 2030. Government revenue to reach at least 15% of the gross domestic production beyond the year 2027. Multidimensional poverty headcount ratio to be less than 15% by the year 2027 and less than 10% by the year 2035. Achieving net zero by the year 2050 when it comes to the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas that is produced in Sri Lanka and the amount that is removed from the atmosphere. It is mentioned that it shall be the duty of the Cabinet of Ministers to base the national policy on economic transformation. The Cabinet of Ministers shall prepare and present to Parliament a report on the policy framework and strategies to give effect to the national policy on economic transformation every 5 years. All policies, programs, regulations, circulars and directives of the government shall conform to such national policy on economic transformation. The government, through the minister assigned the subject of economic policy, present to Parliament each year, the measures being taken towards achieving each target of the national policy on economic transformation. Parliament shall have the oversight control.
What provisions will be included to attract foreign direct investment?
Foreign investment shall be permitted into all sectors and regions of Sri Lanka. Foreign investors shall be permitted to own 100% of the shares in entities engaged in such sectors and regions. The Minister may, with the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers, introduce new entry requirements or restrictions for foreign investments into Sri Lanka by regulations made under this part if deemed necessary for reasons of national security, public emergency, public safety and environmental protection. Economic Commission, Zones SL, Office for International Trade, National Productivity Commission and Sri Lanka Institute of Economic and International Trade shall assist the government in achieving the objects of rapid growth for the national economic transformation. The Economic Commission shall review policies, laws and regulations relating to investments, international trade and exports and to advise the Minister on measures that are considered necessary to facilitate the attainment of the objects of the Economic Commission. The Economic Commission Board shall consist of not more than 10 members, with not more than 6 people appointed by the President. One of them will be named the chairperson of the EC Board. The Zones SL shall supervise and regulate the management of investment zones. The Office for International Trade will be established to promote and develop international trade of Sri Lanka. The President shall, with the concurrence of the Constitutional Council, appoint an Ambassador for International Trade. The Ambassador for International Trade shall be the Chief Negotiator for international trade negotiations. The National Productivity Commission will be established to promote economic growth through increased productivity for the improvement of well-being of people in a sustainable manner. The NPC is accountable to Parliament. The Commission shall make recommendations on streamlining regulation of productivity, promoting healthy competition and contestable markets, and on catalyzing structural transformation. 5 members shall be appointed by the President to the Commission. Establishment of an institute which shall be called the Sri Lanka Institute of Economic and International Trade to be a platform for research and policy making relating to economics, international finance and international trade. It is tasked to initiate, promote and facilitate measures for development of knowledge and skills in economics, international finance and international trade studies among parliamentarians and public officers.
What is the purpose of the public financial management?
The bill aims to enhance fiscal policies for more effective macroeconomic management. The bill proposes to establish a Revenue Management Committee. Secretary to the Treasury shall be the chairperson of the committee. The Revenue Management Committee shall consist of the Deputy Secretary to the Treasury in charge of the subject of fiscal policy, Commissioner General of Inland Revenue, the Director General of Customs, Commissioner General of Excise, Director General of the Department in charge of the subject of Treasury Operations, Director General of the Department in charge of the subject of Fiscal Policy, and 2 other members appointed by the Minister of Finance. The Revenue Management Committee is responsible for developing and formulating revenue strategies consistent with the Fiscal Strategy Statement. The bill also includes matters related to the government's fiscal responsibility. It is to ensure that public debt is reduced to and maintained at a sustainable level. It is also to create and maintain fiscal buffers that secure against future shocks. The bill also aims to manage and mitigate fiscal risks in a prudent manner. It also aims to ensure discipline, transparency and accountability in fiscal management. For this purpose, the Fiscal Strategy Statement shall be prepared by the Minister of Finance annually and be submitted to the Cabinet of Ministers for approval. Upon obtaining approval of the Cabinet of Ministers, the Fiscal Strategy Statement shall be announced by the Minister of Finance in Parliament, and the annual budget for the next year shall be prepared based on such fiscal strategy statements. A committee on cash flow management chaired by the Secretary to the Treasury will also be appointed. The committee is tasked with selecting and executing public-private partnerships and the government investment projects. As per the bill, the Minister of Finance shall have the power to provide an opinion regarding proposals for the establishment, closure or merger of each state-owned enterprise. In addition, the Finance Minister shall have the power to issue corporate governance guidelines aimed at enhancing the performance of state-owned enterprises and exercise financial oversight over state-owned enterprises.